Hey guys, tonight we're diving into dark horror. Forget everything Hollywood told you. This isn't pretty people screaming in high definition. This is the kind of story that sticks to your skin like damp basement air, the kind that whispers in your ear when you're alone in the bathroom at 3 a.m. So before you get too comfortable, hit that like button if you're into this kind of deep dive. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from, so I know which corner of the map to avoid if things leak through. Alright, dim the lights. Not romantic dinner dim, more like your power's out and you just remembered the fridge is full of raw chicken dim. Ready? Good, let's go. You wake up in a room you don't recognize. Not the, oops I crashed at a friend's place kind of unfamiliar. This one smells like the floorboards have been soaking in cold rain for decades. Your breath makes a small cloud in the air, and it's the only proof you're still alive. The walls aren't painted, they're peeling, as if the house itself is trying to shed its own skin. There's a single chair in the middle of the room, wooden, splintered, the kind of chair that looks like it's seen both family dinners and interrogations. A rope hangs loosely from one of the beams above, swaying ever so slightly, but you swear you don't feel a draft. You hear it then, that slow, sticky sound, like someone dragging wet shoes across a tile floor. You think about calling out, but then you remember every horror movie ever made, and how calling out is basically the same as sending your GPS coordinates to the nearest murderer. Now, let's be honest. In real life, most of us wouldn't even be here, because we'd have left the moment the first weird smell showed up. But here you are, because curiosity is basically humanity's most stylish method of self-destruction. You edge toward the door. The handle is cold, not metal in winter cold, more like, I've been sitting in the dark for a century, waiting for someone to touch me cold, and as your hand closes around it, something on the other side taps back. Once, twice. Your brain does the math. Either it's a person, bad, or it's not a person, dash worse. You freeze. The tapping stops. The silence swells so thick you feel it pressing on your eardrums, and then, from somewhere far below, you hear a voice. Not loud, not clear, just a thread of sound that curls upward like smoke. It says your name, and that's when you realize you never told anyone here your name. So, my friend, what would you do? Head toward the voice, or run straight into the unknown? If you're still with me, the next part of this story will take us deeper, into the basement you swore you'd never open. Alright, so you've chosen the stairs. Of course you have, because the human brain is a magnificent contradiction. It screams danger and don't go, while also whispering, but what if it's interesting? The basement door yawns open like it's been waiting. A smell slides out, damp earth, rusted metal, and something faintly sweet. The kind of sweet that means don't breathe too deeply. You feel the air thicken around you. It's warmer down here, but not in a friendly way. More like being too close to someone who hasn't blinked in a while. You start your descent. 1 step, 2. The wood groans beneath your weight, each creak echoing into the blackness below. Your hand slides along the rail, and you feel something wet. You don't want to think about what it might be. At the bottom, your eyes struggle to adjust. There's no light source, but shapes slowly bleed into existence. Broken furniture piled like barricades. Old jars lining the shelves, each filled with things. Some look like wilted flowers, some look like animal parts. And one jar is empty, except for a single tooth floating in cloudy water. Somewhere in the dark, you hear breathing, not heavy, not close, but constant. Like someone who's been here long enough to match their rhythm to the slow drip, drip, drip of water from the ceiling. You take a step forward, and your foot lands in something soft. It yields under your weight, then springs back. You don't look down, because part of you knows that seeing it will make it real. Then, from the corner of the room, a shadow stirs. It's not startled. It's not rushing toward you. It's just standing, watching, waiting. And the worst part? You can't tell if it's moving closer, or if the room itself is shrinking around you. So tell me, do you take another step? Or do you run back upstairs, knowing full well that whatever's down here might follow? Alright, so you stay in the basement, because of course you do. Running back upstairs would make sense, and sense is something horror stories don't allow. The shadow in the corner doesn't blink, doesn't sway, doesn't breathe. At least not in any way you can hear. Your eyes keep trying to adjust, but the longer you look, the less certain you are that it's a shadow at all. Shadows don't have shape memory. They don't cling to the edges of the room like they're holding on for dear life. Then it happens. The corner exhales. It's slow, like someone blowing out birthday candles in reverse, pulling the air into themselves instead of letting it go. The sound is wet, uneven, and every instinct in your body tells you not to move. Which is funny, because every muscle is already locked in place. You notice something. The dripping from the ceiling has stopped. The whole room is holding its breath now, and in that silence, you hear the tiniest scrape, like skin on concrete. The shadow's outline has changed. Taller, narrower, closer. You want to look away, but the same way you can't stop yourself from reading the comments section of a terrible post, you can't stop staring. And then, just for a heartbeat, you see it. An edge, an arm, something that doesn't belong to the geometry of the room. It's moving with impossible patience, the way a predator moves when it already knows you're trapped. Your brain starts to count the distance back to the stairs. You make it to 4 before the shape takes another step, and the floor between you and it groans like it's tired of keeping secrets. So tell me, do you turn and run, or do you wait and see what a shadow does when it finally decides to touch you? The floor groans again, longer this time, like something deep in the wood is stretching awake after years of stillness. You don't remember deciding to take a step back, but your heel finds the bottom stair. It's comforting, in the way a flimsy umbrella feels comforting in a hurricane. The shadow tilts. Yes, tilts, as though it's considering you, sizing you up, trying to decide if you're worth the effort. That's when you realize the corner isn't just darker than the rest of the room, it's moving darker. The black isn't absence of light, it's swallowing it. Every faint reflection, every pale glint, just vanishing into its edges. Somewhere above you, the floorboards shift. Something is up there. You know this, because the air changes. It grows heavier, thicker, and you can almost taste the dust raining down from the ceiling. You think about yelling for help, but the thought dissolves halfway through. Whoever's upstairs, not here to help. Your mind starts pulling up every survival tip you've ever read. Don't turn your back, keep your distance, stay calm. And then, like a cruel afterthought, it adds, also, maybe don't be in a basement with a living shadow in the first place. Thanks, brain. The scrape comes again, louder. Now you can tell it's not feet, it's fingers, long ones, dragging against the concrete as it comes closer. The sound is deliberate, like it wants you to hear. The stairs behind you look smaller than you remember, like the exit is shrinking. And maybe it is, because your eyes keep darting to the walls and you're starting to suspect the room's not exactly staying the same size. A sudden rush of cold sweeps past your ankles. You freeze. That's when the smell hits you, like wet stone and burned hair. It's so strong you have to clamp your mouth shut to keep from gagging. Ah, said you. Somewhere inside that smell is a whisper. Not sound, exactly, but a vibration running through the wood, the air, and straight into your teeth. It says, again, your name. But this time, it laughs after. The laugh is worse than the whisper, because it's not sharp or cruel. It's quiet, gentle, the kind of laugh people make when they're reminiscing about an old memory, and you have no idea what memory you've given it. You don't move, neither does it. And that's when you realize you're both waiting. The only question is, for what? You try to blink, hoping the act will break whatever invisible tether is holding you here. It doesn't. If anything, the moment your eyes close, you feel the space between you and the shadow shorten. You open them fast, too fast, and for a split second you swear you're closer to it than you were before. There's a rule about predators: never let them see your fear. But that rule assumes they're looking at your face. This thing, whatever it is, feels like it's looking through every surface of you, sifting through memories and thoughts like they're old clothes in a thrift store bin. You notice something new. The basement isn't quiet anymore. There's a sound, faint, rhythmic, coming from the dark around the shadow. At first you think it's breathing again, but no, this is wetter, slower, like something thick dripping into water, over and over, just out of sight. Your foot edges up the first stair. The wood whines beneath your weight, and you curse yourself for making noise. The shadow's head, or what you think is its head, turns slightly. The movement isn't quick, but it's sharp enough to make you feel pinned. A thought crashes into your mind. Maybe it's not blocking your way out. Maybe it's herding you somewhere else. The way a wolf drives prey toward a cliff. But to where? The wall behind you, the crawl space you didn't notice earlier, yawning low and dark under the stairs. A sudden flicker catches your eye. Not light, reflection. On the far side of the room, something metallic glints for a moment before the dark swallows it again. You almost convince yourself you imagined it, until it happens again, this time paired with a faint scraping sound that isn't coming from the shadow at all. You realize there's something else down here. Something the shadow isn't watching. Something the shadow doesn't need to watch. Your breathing turns shallow, careful. If there are two things in the dark with you, do they know about each other? Are they working together? Or worse, are they competing? The dripping grows louder, faster, like whatever's causing it has moved closer. The metallic glint appears one more time, brighter now, and you can just make out the curve of it. A hook, hanging from a chain, slowly swaying like a pendulum. The shadow shifts again, but not toward you this time, toward the hook. And for the first time since you've been in this basement, you're not sure it's the most dangerous thing here. The hair on your arms lifts. You're not trapped in here with it. You're trapped in here with them. The hook swings lazily, the chain above it groaning with each pass. It's not high up. No, it hangs at the perfect height for something or someone to grab. You try to tell yourself it's just an old piece of junk left behind by whoever owned this place. But deep down, you know better. Objects don't wait for things, and this hook feels like it's been waiting a very, very long time. The shadow pauses, angled toward it, like a predator spotting another predator. There's a tension in the room now, sharp, electric. The kind of pressure you feel before a fight breaks out in a bar, when two people are just staring, daring each other to make the first move. You almost forget you're part of the equation. Almost. The dripping stops again. The only sound is the slow creak of the chain, and the faint rasp of something moving against the concrete near the far wall. It's subtle, but you hear it. A shuffle, a low scrape, like someone dragging their feet, or dragging something heavier. A shape begins to emerge from that side of the basement. Not as dark as the shadow, its edges catch what little light exists, glistening in patches. You see metal, not polished, but rusted, pitted. Straps, hooks, the faint suggestion of tools that were never designed for anything good. Your first instinct is to back away, but the stairs behind you feel impossibly far now. And worse, the shadow moves too. Not closer to the hook, not closer to the newcomer, but closer to you. You realize you're standing in the no man's land, between two things that should never exist in the same place, and they both know you're here. The metallic figure stops its slow advance, tilts its head, if it even has one, and lets out a sound you'll never forget. Not a growl, not a hiss. Something mechanical, almost like a chain being pulled through a winch, sharp and metallic, mixed with the faint rattle of breath. The shadow reacts, not with fear, shadows don't fear, but with recognition, like it's seen this thing before. For a moment they ignore you entirely. The shadow's edges writhe and curl like smoke in a windless room. The metallic figure's chains sway in uneven rhythm, each swing punctuated by a muffled clink. And you think, just maybe, you could slip away while they're focused on each other. But then, both turn toward you in unison. And it's clear, whatever history they share doesn't matter, because in this moment, you're the only thing worth catching. The hook swings once more, faster now, and you realize you're about to find out which one of them reaches you first. They move at the same time. The shadow unravels from the corner like a length of black silk caught in a current, sliding across the floor without sound. The metallic figure lunges with a sudden jerking motion, the chain above it rattling so violently it sounds like the whole ceiling might come down. Your body makes the decision before your mind catches up. You bolt sideways toward the only patch of the basement that isn't already occupied by something impossible. The ground is uneven, cracked in places, and your foot catches on a ridge of cement. You stumble, barely staying upright, your shoulder scraping against a wall that feels warm in the worst possible way, like something alive has been leaning on it. Behind you, the hook whistles through the air. It misses by inches, slicing through a dangling cobweb that drifts down in slow motion. At the same moment, the shadow tendrils whip past your legs, brushing your skin with a cold so sharp it burns. You dive into a narrow gap between a stack of broken furniture and a row of old shelves lined with dust-choked jars. Something inside one of those jars shifts, a pale lump pressing against the cloudy glass, following your movement like it wants out. You force yourself not to look again. The two monsters, if that's even the right word, collide, not in a loud crash, but in a kind of collision of presence. The air around them bends, the dim light warps, and you feel it in your teeth, a vibration that makes you want to clamp your jaw shut until it cracks. The hook swings again, but this time the shadow catches it. Not physically, you can't see anything gripping the chain, but the movement stops mid-swing, like it's trapped in tar. The metallic figure jerks against it, the sound of strained metal filling the room, and you see sparks scatter briefly before dying in the dark. This should be your chance to run. It should. But the problem is, there's only one exit, and to get to it, you'd have to pass them. Right through the center of whatever silent war they're fighting. The shelves beside you tremble, not from the fight, but from something below. You glance down just in time to see a hairline crack widening across the concrete, the edges flaking away to reveal darkness, not the absence of light. This is thicker, heavier, a darkness you could fall into and never stop. The crack widens again, and a smell leaks out, the kind of smell that makes your body decide you do not want to know what made it. The hook-wielding figure and the shadow both stop mid-motion. And that's when you understand, whatever's coming out of that crack, even they don't want to be here when it arrives, which leaves you with exactly two choices: run toward them, or run toward the thing they're afraid of. The air changes. Hot now. It was freezing just a moment ago. From the crack in the floor, one that was barely the width of a finger before, it's now wide enough to swallow my whole hand. That sound, it's not just a sound anymore. Not footsteps, not whispers. It's breathing, heavy, slow, rhythmic. Each exhale carries a scent that sticks to my throat. Wet earth, soaked in something that is not water. I crouch down, trying to peer into the gap, but all I see is darkness, thick, almost solid. My flashlight beam doesn't travel more than a few feet before being swallowed whole, like something down there is eating the light. The floor vibrates beneath me. The crack widens on its own, chewing through concrete, sending shards tumbling into the void. But there's no sound of them hitting the bottom. It's as if the floor is suspended over an endless nothing. Movement behind me. Shadow. It stands in the corner, still, but its eyes, or the hollow where eyes should be, are locked on the crack. Hook figure is here too, on the opposite side of the room. That long arm grips the hook like it's ready to strike, but I can see it. He's backing away. They don't speak, they don't signal to each other, but I know neither of them wants to get any closer to this. The sound changes. Now there's a wet noise, like flesh being peeled from bone. From the darkness below, something rises, slowly. Not a hand, not a foot, not anything I can name. It's slick, black, glistening. Its surface lined with openings that pulse open and close like breathing skin. It lingers just long enough for my mind to try, and fail, to process it, before it slides back down into the dark. I start to step away, but the floor beneath me cracks, loud, sudden. The concrete gives way, and I fall. The scream tears from my throat and vanishes into the air, rushing past me as I drop into a darkness that has been waiting for me long before I ever knew the crack was there. The fall doesn't last as long as I expected. I hit something, not ground, not quite. It's soft, but it shifts under my weight, and when I push myself up, my hands sink in. It's warm. No, not warm. Alive. Something beneath me writhes and coils away, the surface rippling like I've landed on the back of something enormous. The air here is suffocatingly thick, heavy with a smell that makes my stomach lurch. Metal, mold, and decay. Above, the hole I fell through is already sealing. The jagged edges of broken concrete fold inward like closing jaws, locking me in. The faint light from above disappears completely, and then the whispering starts again. But now it's not distant. It's in my ears, right next to me, too close. I scramble forward, but every step makes the ground shift and pulse, like it's breathing with me or against me. Something brushes my ankle. Cold, wet, deliberate. I move faster, half crawling in the dark, my palms slipping in something slick. A faint glow blooms ahead. Not light, more like a chemical shimmer, seeping from the cracks in the wall. It's enough to reveal the surface I've been walking on. It's not a floor. It's not rock. It's a mass of interwoven things. Hands, arms, faces. Some are slack, eyes closed, skin pale and stretched thin like wax. Others are watching me. Their lips part, but instead of words, I hear the whispering. The sound is inside my head now, threading through my thoughts like it belongs there. I back away from the glowing wall, but something moves in the periphery, a shadow darker than the darkness around it, sliding along the curve of the chamber. It keeps pace with me, no matter which way I turn. It's already there. There, up ahead, a tunnel, narrow, uneven. I don't care where it goes. I run, tripping, scraping my knees against the jagged floor, feeling that shadow press closer, closer. A hand burst from the wall beside me, clawing up my shirt, yanking me sideways. I tear free, the fabric ripping, and throw myself forward into the tunnel. The whispering is louder now, almost a chant, but the words are still impossible to understand. Something's chasing me. I can't see it, but I can feel the air shifting with its movement. It's fast, and then light, real light, white and sharp, pouring from a crack ahead. I push myself harder, lungs burning, legs screaming, until I reach it. A gap just wide enough for me to squeeze through. I force my body into it, ignoring the way the edges cut into my skin, and drag myself toward the brightness. Behind me, something slams into the wall. The tunnel shakes, the light flickers. I pull myself out and find I'm back, in the basement. But it's different now. The walls are breathing, and the shadows aren't staying still. The basement feels wrong. It's not just the walls, slowly expanding and contracting like lungs. It's the smell, like something that's been sealed away for too long, now leaking into the air. It's sweet, in a rotten way, the kind of scent that makes your mouth water for all the wrong reasons. I scan the room, looking for the stairs. They're gone. In their place, along the far wall, is a door that wasn't there yesterday. A door that couldn't have been there yesterday. It's tall, too tall, almost touching the ceiling, and impossibly narrow. Its surface is black, but not painted, more like it's absorbing the light, drinking it in until the edges blur. A single handle gleams in the center, brass, perfectly polished. The whispering has stopped. The room is silent now, except for the sound of my own breathing and the faint, wet thump of the walls around me. I don't want to touch it, but I do. The metal is warm against my palm, almost pulsing with a slow rhythm that matches my heartbeat. For a moment, I think I hear something behind it, soft footsteps, pacing, impatient. The door opens without a sound. Beyond it is nothing. Not blackness, not shadow, just absence. A void so complete, it makes my eyes water, my brain scramble to fill it with something, anything. I can't tell if it's a hallway, or an open drop, or just the end of the world. I should close it. I should run, but the air from the other side is warm, carrying with it a sound so faint it's almost like a memory. Laughter, not human laughter, something wetter, deeper. I step through. The ground under my feet is uneven, shifting slightly, as if I'm walking on something alive. The walls, if there are walls, are covered in faint, crawling shapes, just far enough away that I can't quite see them clearly. They stop moving when I look directly at them. The laughter grows louder, stretching and warping into something else. A rhythm, a chant, in a language that makes my skin crawl. It's coming from a head, from a shape. At first I think it's a person, tall, thin, motionless. But then it tilts its head in a way no human head should tilt, and I see the length of its arms, too long, too jointed. The fingers curl and uncurl slowly, scraping against the ground. I take a step back. The shape doesn't move. Instead, the door slams shut behind me. The sound echoes through the nothingness, and the figure begins to walk, no, glide, toward me. Each step, the ground between us seems to shrink, like the space itself is folding in. I turn and run, but there's no door anymore, only more of that shifting, breathing darkness. The laughter is right behind me now. It's in my ears, it's inside my head. And then, a hand falls on my shoulder. I freeze, not because of the grip, though it's ice cold and heavy enough to anchor me in place, but because of what happens next. The darkness ahead of me peels away, like fabric being torn. Behind it is a mirror. No, not just a mirror, my mirror, the one in my bedroom, the one hanging on the wall across from my bed. Except I'm not in my bedroom. I'm still standing on the shifting, breathing floor, but my reflection is there. It's lit by the soft glow of my bedside lamp, sitting exactly where I left it last night. Only, I'm asleep in the reflection, and I can see my chest rising and falling. The hand on my shoulder tightens, and I'm pulled toward the glass. The closer I get, the more wrong my sleeping self looks. My skin is pale, stretched too tightly over my face, as though I'd been drained of something. My lips are moving. I lean closer, trying to hear, and then I realize it's not whispering. It's breathing, but it's not in sync with me. The thing in the bed exhales when I inhale, inhales when I exhale, like it's trying to steal the rhythm of my body for itself. I should pull away, but the glass is warm now, pressing against my forehead. My reflection's eyes snap open. They're not mine. They're too wide, the white's too bright, the pupils too thin. And then it blinks. Not like a human blink. It closes one eye, then the other, out of sync, deliberate, like a signal. Something moves in the background of the bedroom. A tall, shadowed figure just behind my sleeping body. It leans down, whispering something into my other self's ear. And my reflection's mouth curls into a slow smile. The mirror starts to ripple, the glass turning to liquid. I feel myself being pulled in. Not my body, my breath. Each exhale is harder to take back, like the mirror is swallowing the air from my lungs. My reflection sits up, reaching toward me from the other side. Its fingers press against the liquid glass, and they push through. Cold, damp, impossibly long fingers wrap around my throat. It pulls. The breathing floor vanishes beneath my feet. The darkness is gone. There's only the mirror now, and the thing dragging me through. As the last of my air leaves me, I realize something. The thing in the bed isn't me anymore. And when it opens its eyes again, it's going to get up and walk away. In my body, the mirror swallows me whole, and suddenly, I'm not in my bedroom, not in any room I've ever seen. It's an endless hallway, ceiling too low, floor sloping slightly down. The walls breathe like lungs. Every few steps, I pass doors, some old and splintered, some perfectly new, some with scratches deep enough to show the wood's pale core. They all have one thing in common. They're locked. Except for the last one. It's wrong. It doesn't match the others. Made of metal, bolted into the wall, like it was never meant to be open from this side. No handle, only a slit at eye level. A warm draft slips out through it, carrying a smell I can't place. It's sweet and rotting. I lean close. The slit slides open from the other side. A single yellow eye stares back. It doesn't blink. The walls groan, and the door begins to unbolt itself, one latch at a time. The air rushes out, pulling me toward the opening like a vacuum, and just before I'm dragged through, I hear a voice, low and certain. You've been here before. I land hard, not on floor, on dirt, a wide, open field under a black sky. No stars. In the distance, something ticks, steady, loud enough to make my teeth ache. I follow the sound until I see it. A massive grandfather clock, standing alone in the middle of the field. Its hands spin the wrong way. Each backward tick feels like it takes something from me. Heat, car, time. I step closer, and the numbers on the face melt away, replaced by words. Not numbers, dates. My birthday, the day I moved out of my childhood home, the night I almost died in a car crash. The hands spin faster, the dates blur, then stop. It's tomorrow. The pendulum swings, and I see my reflection in it, but not how I look now, how I'll look tomorrow. Eyes hollow, skin grey, dead. The ticking grows louder, each swing pulling me closer, until my reflection's hands press against the glass, the same way it did in the mirror. And then, snap, the clock's door bursts open. Darkness floods out, swallowing the field. When I can see again, I'm back in that first darkness. No floor, no ceiling, only the feeling of being watched from every direction. And now I understand. The basement, the shadows that moved, the mirror, the door, the clock. They weren't separate places. They were parts of it, of them. Shapes begin to move around me, peeling themselves out of the black. They're tall, too many joints in their arms. Faces that flicker through the ones I've worn in every nightmare tonight. One leans close. Its voice is every whisper I've ever heard when I thought I was alone. You've been walking toward us since the day you were born. The darkness begins to pulse. With every beat, my body feels lighter, less mine. I try to speak, nothing comes out. The tallest shape places its hand on my chest and pushes. My breath leaves me in one sharp exhale. I watch as it drifts upward, glowing faintly, before the darkness swallows it whole. And then, I'm standing in my bedroom, morning sunlight, birdsong. But when I catch my reflection in the mirror, it's smiling. I'm not. And that's when I realize I made it out, but I didn't come back alone.